Good afternoon and welcome to the Kerry Garden Show. Alan Finn here with you again at Boyles of Killorglin, joined of course by our garden centre manager and our gardening expert Miguel. Miguel, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you.
How are you?
Good afternoon.
Good. So today on the show we're going to talk about, we've decided to talk about common mistakes people make in the garden. Obviously every garden centre up and down the country will have people coming in going, oh no.
Yes.
I did this or I did that and something is not flowering right, something's not growing right, and they don't know what to do. So they probably come to you guys when it's too late. Would that be correct?
Well, sometimes it's too late or too late for this season.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not. It can happen that most of the things you can fix them.
Yeah.
Long term.
Long term, okay.
But some things you just kill them.
Yeah. And more than likely it could have been something, I guess, that could have been avoided. So we're going to talk about planning. We're going to about common mistakes that are made, simple solutions, and what people need to be kind of thinking about when they're going about stuff. So where do you want to start, Miguel?
Well, we can start for there's plenty of things. I would like to say just a second about indoor plants. That is a very common mistake.
Okay, indoor plants.
Killing them with too much water and too much food.
Okay.
And that's a very, very common mistake.
Right. So
And
indoor plants.
when they come asking for help with that plants, normally those plants are gone.
Okay.
Right? It's a different world actually. It's similar, but it's different. So they don't need much water. They don't need much food. They don't normally need big transplanting.
Okay.
So it's a different thing. It's a different world inside this world. But it's a very, very common mistake. Overwatering or just watering regularly with a pint of water every week. The plant has different demands, in summer than in winter. So you have to just be curious, have a look, observe. But definitely people just kill them with overwatering. And when they see that they're decaying, they add some more food and they add more water and more food and more water and they just kill them.
And that actually completely
That's a very
smothers them.
common thing.
Okay.
And that is the same, but it's not the same. Outdoor plants, people don't feed them or overfeed them. You know, we have talked about this thing.
We have indeed, yes.
Yeah, it's very good for hanging baskets.
Kerry Garden Show, sponsored by Miracle Grow All Purpose.
That's no good. That's no good for this. Right?
Okay.
That's no good for garden unless you use it wisely.
Use it in the right place.
Right?
Okay.
If you overfeed because your plant is not flowering, we have gone through that before. The hydrangeas and feeding it with this product specifically, and very green, very lusty plants, but not flowering. So feeding it right feeding it too much normally is not feeding. It's a very common mistake here. So you put your garden very nice, all your plants are there, and then you forget about it, and you expect year after year a very nice flowering, and you're not looking after them. Mulch them, mulch the soil, top dress it with farmyard manure or a very good compost every year.
Yeah.
Just top dress the soil, put it a decent layer, spend a little bit of money, and you won't spend loads of money after.
Okay. Because I guess that'd be the problem then, because people would have to replace all the plants. That's what you're referring to in regards to spending loads of money afterwards. Instead, if you spend a little bit of time every year, just kind of, as you said, mulching everything over, regenerating.
Soil, giving food, because you have to have in mind that those plants they are taking the nutrients of the soil. And you can have very decent soil there where there's no plants, but around the plants you have, those plants already.
They're draining all the nutrients they can.
So you have to give them nutrients every year.
Yeah.
And you'll see the difference is amazing when you do that. Every year. And if you want to regenerate or you have very poor soil, that's another common mistake. People go and plant everywhere. And you know builders, they just drop whatever the leftovers they have, they walk it down.
Compact it down into the soil,
And then you start digging and you find glass and you find an old...
half a block, and you find a packet of potatoes that they had
exactly.
on a lunch break,
And you go and you just pretend that your plants grow there. You don't.
No.
Or the soil is wet, it's always wet, and you just
dig down, you find out that there's no drainage,
and you don't mind. You plant them there expecting them to survive. No.
Yeah.
No. Just amend that soil, make it good. Make it good, adding good compost. You can buy tons of topsoil, very decent topsoil for I don't know how much, but very, very reasonable price. And every year just get the shovel and start.
Just throw it over.
And farmer manure, that's just an excellent product.
Yeah, we've got some here down the front, and that's obviously a big thing just to show, and we've always spoken about it, to get the in-store farmyard manure. Obviously, every time we say it, I'm always conscious that someone might just think, oh, I think we're a bit out the back.
It's not that I am against it, don't, but it's just make sure that the farmyard manure you get from your neighbor or from yourself is dry, is cold. It has a process, so when it's finished, it's cold.
Okay.
When you dig it, it's no warm, it's no a little bit warm. It's always a little bit warm, but if not, you're taking just, and it's not the first time that comes, and that has been another day. A woman, her hydrangeas were just burned, and I asked, what did you do? Well, just the first question. What have you done? Says I fed them with raw chicken manure from my hands. And I said, you're burning the thing. That has to be cold. And you cannot, even so, you have to mix that thing. It's a very strong, it's a very acidic manure. So if you use your hands manure, you're gonna burn. You're gonna just be careful. Don't. It's not that you have to come here and buy the poultry manure. Just get your own if you want, if you can. But follow a few things, a few instructions, like mixing it properly. Leave it for a couple of years to get cold.
It kind of needs to ferment and stuff like that, you know, and all the chemicals that are in there need to kind of dissipate a little bit, because they're very, as you said, they're very strong when they come out.
Very strong. If a chicken poos on top of your car, you know, it can even
a little bit of an acid kind of thing.
You know,
it
so
can leave a mark.
It's not, well, now they're better, they're more protected, but on your floor, the other day a bird got into my house and poo a few times before you could get out. And the wood floor is stained already. It's just acidic thing. So it's just strong, and people use them. They can. So that brings us to another thing: is just the positioning of the plants.
Okay.
It's not only the food; is how do you plant them? When, how? You have to plant them in the right time of the year. Every plant has their best time. So if you plant them out of season, out of when they want, can make the plant struggle, even die. The holes have to be twice the pot.
Okay, so even when you're digging the ground, so the holes when you're putting them in,
dig. Don't be afraid of digging. Make it dig it, and then you add some compost. You level the pot.
Okay.
So you don't want to bury the trunk.
Yes.
It has to be at the same level as the pot.
Okay, so you're looking at the base of the plant here. Needs to be just at the level of the rest of the growth.
Where the level is, you don't bury it, especially in trees, like these kind of plants, you know.
Okay.
If you bury it too much, you're digging it, you're putting it this way, you know, you're burying it. That is gonna be attacked by insects, fungi, and plenty of things that will probably drive to, not probably, but you have a good chance of killing the plant.
So the roots are the only thing to be underground, is basically what you're saying. The majority of the time the roots can actually hack and handle those conditions, but if you have got even just the small bit of an inch of the base of the plant or the shrub or the tree, you're inviting trouble. You're inviting trouble. You know, there could be an issue.
But it's not half an inch. It's just, you see the way people just pot and they just dig the hole. And I dig it too much, and all right, I'll cover it with.
Okay,
It's not a little bit, okay. A little bit won't hurt. Well, it could, but a little bit. But you see,
there's a common thing and a common thread. I guess it's, and I wouldn't say it's down to laziness, but it's just that old, sure, it'll do. And it's a real Irish trait. Sure, look, it'll do. It'll be fine.
Yeah, well, it's not only here. It's everywhere. Once it's done, I'll throw it there anyway. Just see what happens.
Okay.
And then you water, you feed it, you water, you feed it.
Yeah.
And you make mistakes.
Yeah, okay.
Not planning.
Planning is the big thing, Planning. We've been talking about that for a long time.
is essential in terms of the future, in terms of plants overgrowing others and killing them or make them small, not visible. Shady plants in sunny space,
Yeah.
or not windy friendly plants.
Putting them in
windy
the right
spots,
in the
or
right areas.
Wrong spot. Overcrowding.
Yeah.
Plants. That's a very common mistake. As the other common mistake is scattered too much.
Okay.
Waiting for them to look very nice when that will never happen.
No.
You'll have,
Just patches.
unless you want that, and you have a very nice green area, and you have
In
a
between.
few islands in between.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you want a few, or a rockery that you cannot. But if you want a very nice English garden, call it this way, you have to think in advance. What do you want? How much do you want to spend? And go for that plan. Even you can do now is plenty of small little apps that cost you a few quid or nothing, that you can design a small garden.
Yeah.
And you can just even see how the plants look.
Would look. Yeah.
Exactly. And with these, I have seen. I was cleaning the first time we were rented of an apartment in Cork, and I was cleaning the garden of the place, and I found 3 camellias that were overgrown from a big ilex, that they never trimmed the ilex, and the camellias were there in between
Underneath.
the branches.
Yeah, and they were just kind of covered.
I just cleaned the tree that was way better looking after it was
Trimmed it,
cleaned, because
yeah.
just all the shootings going, and the camellias were boom.
Okay.
But they never thought about the camellia. Oh,
Yeah.
they never look after the garden. Another common mistake.
One thing I've
Another.
actually found as well too, and it happened in my own estate, and a lot of estates around villages around the county. For some reason, I don't know what wisdom or anything like that, but they will actually put like a beech tree or an oak tree beside a footpath, or in front of a garden, you know. And these trees are ones that are going to grow up huge. What's going to happen? They're going to break up the footpath, and then there's going to be problems and issues. Nobody trims them. Then they start overhanging willow trees along a footpath in an estate. These mistakes are another thing I've noticed a lot.
Yeah, it's plenty of gardens you see that they have planted the wrong trees.
Yeah.
Too close to the house. That eventually is going to cost you a fortune.
Yeah.
A fortune. Because you cannot go with a
chainsaw,
No,
yeah.
that can, if you do it wrong, it just going to
Comes down
destroy
top of
your
the house, yeah.
right?
Yeah, we've
And
all
it's
seen the
gonna cause
videos.
problems in the foundations, in plenty of. So you have to be wise. You have to think about the space you have.
Yeah.
And plan. Not getting blinded by the beauty of that tree you love, and it's a sequoia that it will grow 40 meters high.
Like in Yellowstone Park, yeah.
You're gonna get out of the house and,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and scattering, it's okay if you don't have a plan in advance, but don't go shopping 1 and 2. Just have a small plan for now, because you don't have a budget.
Yeah.
So not only scattering the plants,
Yeah.
just not looking after the garden when you
After it's
finish,
planted and finished.
right?
Okay.
So you have to always, you have to prune, trim, deadhead, feed. And people just think that, oh, I hired a very nice garden designer. They brought me the plants. My garden is here.
I don't have to do anything.
And in 5 years, the garden is eating you.
Overgrown, yeah.
And so for today, the last common mistake is very common as well, is the watering. We rely on the weather here in Ireland.
Plenty of water comes from the sky, yeah.
So we normally don't have to worry about that.
But things are
then
picking up. The weather's going to get
weather
nice
is
and
changing, and we have longer periods of dry weather, and we have to water
Yeah.
sometimes. We should water actually, and it's a couple tips there. Is early in the morning or very late
yeah.
when the sun is out. Soak well those days.
Okay.
Don't go just
don't
a
go
little
crazy.
bit of-
Well, so
just-
don't do a little bit, because as the
Exactly.
day, if it's early in the morning, as the day goes on, the sun will actually kind of dry it out.
Exactly.
But the
And-
problem we've always felt is that if you are actually watering when the sun is at its highest, you'll actually burn the
You
plants.
burn the plants. Is just is just a kind of magnifying glass effect.
Yeah.
And that loop effect, that drop, especially in tender annuals,
Yeah.
like petunias or even just whatever plant that is in flower, the stains will be around. So you just want to water underneath. Just get one of these soaking hoses that they just soak a little bit of water, or just bend. No?
Bend down, get down.
Get down on your
But as you
knees
say, at the base of the plant.
and pray, yeah,
the base
but
of the plant,
always
yeah.
at the base, early in the morning or late afternoon or both, if
Okay.
you need it.
Yeah.
Don't forget to water properly, because we see just the top of the pot. All pots, essential watering them every day in summer days, every day.
Okay.
No matter how big is the pot, you
Right.
should water them if you can, of course. And don't rely on, if the pot is dry or the earth is dry and you see that you water it and it's wet, it's going to be just half an inch of, so you just make sure of water properly. If you are a freak, just get a digger and see where the water is going.
How far it goes down. Yeah.
Just make sure that the water, if it's in a pot, make sure that the water runs through the
Okay.
holes.
Yeah.
And
Gets
just
through all the
make
plants.
sure that they have enough water. They will tell you anyway. Leaves will be fading.
And that's it. When
And
the leaves start to limp a little bit, that's
Exactly.
it, isn't it?
And they will be coming back.
Yeah.
But just water them.
Yeah. Okay.
And we can make another program another day.
I'm
about
sure we'll
more
come
mistakes,
across,
because
yeah.
there's plenty of them.
Absolutely.
In pruning, when people prunes too early, too late, they don't have the proper blooms. They only prune for ornamental purposes, not for the blooming. Especially in states and hotels and these, that they do things that are not good, but
Yeah.
they have to be always mint.
Yeah.
And you have to have a balance.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
if you have your own garden, you don't have
Try
to do
it.
that.
Yeah.
Just prune it at the right time of the year. Google.
Yeah.
But don't rely on the first thing that comes out of Google. Just check five.
Because they'll
or
be
two,
trying to sell you
because
something. Yeah.
No, it's just amazing the amount of contradictions you can get.
Okay.
Amazing. So you just go and check, I don't know, pruning roses. And in one place it will tell you this, and the other place it will tell you something
A different
slightly
type, yeah,
different or
okay.
more or different.
And they
so
could
don't
also be
rely only in
Yeah,
one.
and they could also be from different countries, depending
Yeah,
on the
that's
weather and
another
stuff
thing,
like
yeah.
that, you know. So,
So-
an Australian one, which is the
Just
complete
the
opposite
Spanish
seasons.
one,
Yeah.
Spanish geranium.
Will we get good enough Spanish advice here from yourself, Miguel? So that pretty much brings the show to a close. Thanks very much, Miguel, for all those tips.
you.
Hopefully some of those common mistakes and solutions will be of some benefit to you and help you with your gardening. That's it from us this week. Until next time, for myself, Alan, and everyone here at the Garden Centre, happy gardening.